Different types of discrimination. The first one you can look in terms of the institutionalized discrimination. When I say institutionalized, we call it institution. It can be a school kind of discrimination or a company kind of discrimination. Okay. Now let's say pregnancy leave. Now one thing I would like to say is the pregnancy leave in Malaysia. I'm not sure how long is it, but I think it's a bit too long. Okay. In other parts of the world, they have it for 90 days. Okay. It's a payable leave. Okay. Now Malaysia, I'm not sure. I think weeks, or I think it's a few weeks, just a few weeks or a few days. Okay. The question is, let's assume you are pregnant and you have a baby. I mean, a baby that needs your love and care. How are you supposed going to give this lady just a few weeks of leave? I understand that the company has to go on, but we have to try to understand the welfare of the employees in the company. They need a lot of bonding. Mothers and babies need a lot of bonding. I don't really agree with a few days or a few weeks of leave. At least 3 months, I'm not sure myself too. If I were given 3 months myself, I might need more than that, okay? Baby is a very fragile being. You know, it's a very fragile being. It needs, he or she needs the mom, okay, to take care of, okay? It is worth considering. And for Malaysia, if Malaysia wants to grow, they need to consider this issue as well. Now, the retirement age. Last time the retirement age was 55. I mean, in a government level. And then they increased to 56. And then right now they increased to 58. Okay, if you look at different countries, they have different age for retirement, okay? Some even go past 60. But we have to understand one thing. People nowadays live up to 75 years old or even 80 years old. If you allow someone to retire at the age of 55, what is that person going to do in that 20 years time? I'm talking about 20 years. I mean, it's a long year to go. It's a long time to go. Okay, it's worth considering. I would not see people today at the age of 55, even 60. I think they're still healthy enough to do what they're good at, okay? We don't really have to just chase them away, okay? I know a school whose principal just sent away all the experienced teacher and brought in the young and inexperienced ones, okay? Now, so this is worth thinking, okay? And we have to think in terms of that. If we talk about capital development, if the 10th Malaysian plan is talking about capital development, we talk about humans development. We have to think about pregnancy leave. We have to think about retirement age as well, okay? Being old doesn't mean that you have Parkinson's disease or you have memory loss, okay? Most of them, they do not have. It always happens when they stop working and then they don't know anything and they have nothing to do. That's when the brain starts to degrade, okay? Now also we have something called the social discrimination. Social discrimination, we look more into the groups, okay? The huge group, they would usually attack towards the smaller group. It can be a group of friends. It can be a group of people in a certain place, okay? We would portray a social discrimination act, yeah? Next one, we have what is called the reverse discrimination. Now, reverse discrimination, it's the reverse of it, which means you like the discriminated people, okay? Some people, they tend to just hire people who are transsexual themselves, okay? You would notice that, I mean, in a certain shops, okay? Or some people, if you go to somewhere near Wang Samaju or somewhere there, you would find a KFC, and then the KFC would be 100% handled by a mute and deaf people. There is no one who can speak to you, and you have to adhere and adjust the environment. Okay, I applaud I applaud the owner of this restaurant, this KFC restaurant, for hiring all of the people who are mute and deaf, okay? Yes, some people, they also discriminate the majority. For me personally, I would discriminate all things that are famous. Okay, the famous one I discriminate. That's why I never used a Nokia handphone. That's why I discriminate the famous MU. Okay, I just don't like the majority. I don't like the famous one. I like the underdogs. You call it the underdogs, okay? Now, the next one we talk about tokenism. Tokenism, if you can say in other words, it's called tokenism. It's called the fake greeting to the discriminated. You perceive yourself as treating other people well, but inside you are still discriminating them. Okay? Now, tokenism, we can talk about the minor favor to the minority. Okay? Now, let's say in election time, people like to talk about or focus on the special people. Okay? But we always don't know what happens after election, okay? Before election, it's always hoo-hoo, ha-ha, but after election, there's no more news, okay? It's all quiet, okay? Now, if you look at this one, Americans today are less racist and also gender prejudiced, okay? Let's look at this one. In 1936, if you look at the line, the red line is would you vote for a woman president? You can see is that it has already increasing. The percentage answering is yes, okay? Of course, we hope so one day there will be a female president in their country. Now, and we look, if you look in the blue line, do the whites have a right to keep minorities out of their neighborhood, okay? Last time, 97% of the white children, they don't want the blacks to be in the same class with them. Right now, if you ask them the same question, they consist of only 3%. Okay, this shows a huge drop in being racist. Okay, they are more acceptant towards different colors. Yeah, and also prejudice against women and blacks has fallen sharply in recent decades. I mean, this is a good thing. I would say this is a good thing. Okay, but right now the question is not more of gender. Right now the question is more on religion, okay? And we talk about Malaysia, the question comes among the three races, yeah? Now, so in all, we can see that the difference is that racism, it goes into your ethnicity, okay? The stereotype, it goes into your mind. Your mind groups things in that particular way. Discrimination, it goes into your behavior. Okay, your stereotype would affect to some extent how you discriminate people. Lastly, it's prejudice. Okay, prejudice is your affect, your feelings, your attitude. Okay, so we look back again at the ABC of social psychology. Now you have to get this clear and you have to get this right. Yeah. Now, theories of prejudice and discrimination. There are different theories about this. Okay. A, we look in terms of the prejudiced personality. Some people, they are really prejudiced, okay? I don't want to name names here, but obviously I do not like some politicians in this country, okay? How would I describe this person? First, when we talk about the prejudiced personality, it is very focused on his personality or his or her personality. Personality focused. Not race focused, not place focused, not party focused, but his personality. Okay? Next one, we look in terms of authority figure. To some extent, people who are more likely to be prejudiced and discriminate, they are more likely to have higher position in the society. Okay? Next one, the authority is striking with the position. With the position that he has, he can say whatever words that he like, okay? His name starts with I, okay? Now, so you can take time to think about what he was saying in the press, the things that he said, yep?